Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to a Friday evening's Talking Town, or match preview ahead of this weekend as we gear up to take on Arsenal at home. Does relegation loom for ITFC this weekend? Let us know your thoughts, your feelings, your opinions, your predictions, your lineups, all of that in our live chat. And don't forget, we are with Stowmarket Osteopaths. Don't live life in pain. Give Freddie a call. 01449613633. Freddie is the governor there. Tell him the gov at Talking Town has sent you. Stowmarket Osteopaths, and also offer physiotherapy and a few other bits and pieces. Do check out their website or give Freddie a call on 01449613633. Lots of conversation. I'm going to bring Matchday in because there's lots of conversation about the championship in our chat, despite still being a Premier League team, or for albeit of 10 more minutes or so.
Yeah.
Lots of championship chat. I know you're a big championship fan.
Yeah. Well, I watched it today. I thought I'd dip into Derby County versus Luton, bit of a relegation 6-pointer. It was that entertaining. I was leafing through the Radio Times to see what time the World Paint Drying Championship started. It was pretty dynamite, and bloody hell. I mean, you'd never think Luton was in the Premier League last season. I mean, and you know, arguably did better than what we've been doing this season, certainly in goals scored and points tally as it stands at the moment. But there was some nice Ipswich connections in there very quickly. I mean, Marcus Harness was playing in like a false 9 for Derby down the middle. Had a very good chance. Luton won the game, by the way, 1-0. Had a very good chance at the end. Caden Jackson come on as a sub, played wide. Matt Bloomfield always makes me laugh. He's like a name that's synonymous with Ipswich, isn't it? But he had like 500 appearances, career appearances, of which there was like 2 sub appearances for Town. The rest was for Wickham. And still with the same agent, presumably, Luke Chambers was in the studio as the pundit, which is good to see.
Looking forward to punditry from Luke Chambers and co next season, possibly. More likely than not. Obviously, there's still mathematically a possibility we could survive. So I've got a sort of caveat there, but we are going down. Talking of which, obviously Marcus Harness, you mentioned him playing that false 9 position. Any future do you feel for him at Town? Will he come back?
He didn't play that great, to be honest with you. I mean, I was a huge fan of Harness when he was at Town. I think is he out of contract? People tell us in the comments, probably know. I think he's out of contract of Town in the summer. He didn't play that good. Caden looks all right, again, playing that kind of wide role. Doesn't seem to get into their team, though. Still wearing the number 19 shirt, but doesn't seem to start all that often. But yeah, Matt Clark as well. Remember him? Centre back from way back when. And who else was in this? Someone else was playing in that. Mark McGuinness. Remember that when he played in the, what was it, the EFL trophy for Arsenal? I mean, don't get me started on that. We've just been beaten by children, everybody.
Rumour has it he's still trying to chase Wes Burns down at Portman Road.
Yeah. He played well, actually, McGuinness. I mean, whether or not he'll stay if they go down. Yes, I do.
Well, that was a welcome to Portman Road for Wes Burns that day, wasn't it? When he played for Fleetwood and completely went past Mark McGuinness. So McGuinness was running in treacle.
That's right. Who knew that we would sign Wes would be the first signing of the Demolition Man era, wasn't it? That's what it was going to.
Era, yeah, absolutely.
McGuinness, actually, to be fair, he's still only like 26, 27, I think. So whether or not he'll stay there, but yeah, Luton looked a shadow the side that was in the Premier League last season. But there we go. They gave themselves a fighting chance of staying up, but
they've made it interesting, which is what they can do, which sadly isn't something we've done ourselves in our own relegation fight for survival. They've at least made it interesting, got themselves back points level, goal difference now is the only thing keeping them out of the bottom 3. They'll take it down to the wire. That'll be an interesting one. I do like Marcus Harness. I just think from where we're coming from and wanting to get back to, we want better in that position, and that's no disrespect to Marcus Harness. That's just you know, he clearly they didn't view him this season as a Premier League player. I can't really see that changing possibly in 2 years' time. So I'd be looking at, regardless of his contract situation, and I don't know it. I haven't reached that part of the summer yet where I've started to look at contracts. Squad building. I'm still very much in this one, but obviously our neighbours, East Anglian neighbours, Norwich, they had a not a great day, was it?
They lost 5-3, didn't they? They were 4-1 down at one point.
Yeah, it's one thing getting hammered possibly at the weekend by Arsenal, who are in the UEFA Champions League semi-final. It's another thing, being hammered by the team that's come up.
Relegation threatened Portsmouth. Exactly. Well, they're not now. But
no, they've now 6 points clear. I've seen a video already on TikTok from Southampton, Martin from Southampton,
Oh, yeah.
saying that, Derby days will be back next season.
That'd be feisty. Yeah.
And all of that. It's an interesting time at Norwich. I know they're rebuilding. Obviously, they're no longer got the parachute money, but they have got new ownership. Will they stick with their manager or not? I tend to think if they're going to stick with their manager, I'd like to play them early doors next year if we do. Because
is that Norwich?
Because
yeah.
if manager, if you play them early, it could still be ropey. Whereas you play them middle, knowing Towns lot, they changed their gaffer 2 weeks before and had that managerial bounce coming through. That's the classic Town luck. But
when we was like in the oblivion years of Marcus Evans, we always used to sort of play them around September and then February, didn't we? So we could get them early doors. It feels like to me Russell Martin might get that gig. Do you know what I mean? If he want being like a Norwich legend out of work.
Very much so.
I mean, they obviously were trying to get they were trying to get a Kieran McKenna style character, weren't they? I think that kind of youngish coach come off the continent out of Scandinavia, but I mean, maybe give him another season there. What's his name? Thorup? Can't even say his name.
They're rebuilding. They might not look great, and having been beaten 5-3 today, I'm sure they didn't look great, but they're rebuilding. And people, where are you with this whole? Before we jump into the Arsenal match preview, where are you with this whole? We're going to run away with the Championship next year. We're going to absolutely, the league is worse this year than the year before, and it's only going to get worse again next year when the parachute teams go up, or possibly another parachute team goes down. So there's less parachute money in it.
Yeah,
I very much am of the. I don't know if I'm with them or if I'm saying, let's just roll back the expectation as a fan, because it's much nicer to eat a chicken sandwich than with chicken.
I don't think anyone can really. I don't think anyone. Well, no. I mean, you're guessing if you're predicting at this point, aren't you? Because we don't even know. Well, the Premier League season isn't even over. We don't know who's going to be leaving, who we're signing, whether or not we're going to still have Kieran McKenna there. Loads and loads of variables, but everyone keeps saying that the gap from the Championship into the Premier League is huge, which is why the three to go up keep coming down. So you've got to think there's a gap between the three coming down and those that are contending in the Championship, of which Ipswich, for once, are on the right side of the coin, aren't we?
Absolutely.
We're going to have a huge advantage going into next season, hopefully with Kieran McKenna at the helm. But in terms of parachute payment money, whatever we get in player sales, whether that be Delap or Amari or Leaf, throw that in there. There's free plays, there's free sellable assets there that could go if we get good fees.
Even if you didn't bring anybody in, though, Matt, I think the squad's certainly good. See, I think a top four finish certainly has to be the expectation. But I'm not yet with these people that are going to hate, like HMS Pistol League, or we're going to be up, we're going to win the league, we're going to run away with it. We're probably going to smash all points total, or whatever it might be. But very much so. If you're not a top four side, or maybe stretch it to a top six, but more so a top four, that's got to be a disappointing year. But we'll get to that when we get to it.
Michael says, games, well, sorry, Mike, I was going to say it's 46 games. You're going to get ups and downs and twists and turns. I mean, no season, unless you're really kind of like Burnley were that year with 100 points, where they lost like 2 games.
Reading, your favourite team.
We'll come to them in just a second. They've been few and far between those kind of performances, that kind of domination, isn't it? But I'd like to think Ipswich will be contending for top 2. But a near 50 game season's huge. It's unforgiving. It's going to be unforgiving. But at the same token, Sheffield United conceded 100 plus goals last season. They're sitting in third, probably blown their automatic chances now, given that they've lost their last 3. Just goes to show you the twists and turns in the Championship. But let's wait until we get to some of it. Yes, horror of horrors. Reading's on our. If you've been talking town followers since we started, Gillingham, Reading, now Oxford with their 3-sided stadium have been on our kind of like. If we liquidated them, no one in football would ever probably notice. And like Reading are just like a nothing club for me. Horror of horrors. They were sitting 6th today in League One. We might have to play them next season, but Leyton Orient had a comeback victory and got into 6th themselves at the moment. So it's fine lines. But there's nothing nothing more sobering than going from Arsenal on this Sunday to suddenly realising you might be playing Reading next season.
Well, you are playing Oxford next season, regardless. If you go down. Because they are going to survive, and you've got the fog, the 3-sided stands, and all that.
Proper tin pot, isn't it, really? Their old ground was tin pot. I don't know if Colin went now. I see Colin's in the chat. The Manor ground as a non-league ground. I don't think this one's much better with their 3 sides and the car park behind the goal. Do you know what I mean? But There we go.
Well, this is it. It's Eleanor says, favorite Chelsea performance this season, never Southampton performance. I wouldn't take anything for granted. And obviously, turning our attention back to this year, this season, rather. You know, Ben Johnson obviously said in the press, I think we've done the club proud. There's been some highs and lows, but it's the best league in the world, and we're playing against the best in the world. So it's not easy. I feel like we've gone toe to toe, and hopefully we can continue that. And how have you know, based on that comment and looking at the season as it is, what are your thoughts on that?
He said we've done the club and the fans proud, is what he said.
Yeah, I think we've done the club proud, and there's been some highs and lows, but it's the best league in the world and playing against the best in the world, so it's not easy. I feel we've gone toe to toe, and hopefully we can continue that.
Yeah, well, I'm divided by that, to be honest with you. I mean, look, if you listen to Simon Jordan on TalkSport, he was a very big fan of Ipswich. I thought we could stay up this season. He did a thing in the week or the week just gone saying we've all been pathetic, the bottom three. And it could be the worst bottom three in history or something if you amalgamate all the points together. I mean, I don't really get that stat, really, because you're lumping us in with Southampton, who've been, you know, still on par to be the worst Premier League side ever, aren't they? They still haven't overtaken. I don't think they've overtaken Derby's total, have they?
We've tried to help them.
Well, exactly. I mean, but then you could put that one in, can't you? You could put that angle in. We haven't beaten Southampton home and away. Dropped 5 points.
Shocking, isn't it?
I mean,
absolutely shocking that.
Yeah.
You know.
So it was. Yeah. So that's been poor. I think we've been out of the bottom three. We've certainly been the most competitive, which was, which I was expecting, really, given the momentum coming out of League One through the Champion into the Premier League. But our home form's been terrible. Our home form has been absolutely terrible. I mean, verging on the point of embarrassment. I mean, even Sheffield United won more home games than what we've done. Now, whether or not we'll surpass that stat by the end of the season, by the end of May, we'll just have to wait and see. But I think our away form's been decent, like we said on the previous show, wasn't it? What was it 14 points away and 7 at home? I mean, when you consider how dominant we've been at home, what was it? 6 losses in the Championship last season and 4 in League One. So 10 defeats in 2 seasons, and we've just been nowhere near it in the Premier League, and we've lost ourselves games, and as we said previously, 27 points left in the bin from winning positions, and I don't know, we've let ourselves down at home, really. The Bournemouth game, Leicester, didn't start well against Newcastle, you're 3 down at half-time. I mean, it's sobering, isn't it? I mean, let's not forget this, our starting point was the double promotion from starting at League One, so yeah, I can cut them some slack there, but we have looked very good away from home. Why we've not played the away from home tactics more often in the Premier League at home, I'm not sure. We've looked very good counter-attacking side. We saw that on Sunday against Chelsea. Deservedly go 2 up, soak up the pressure, clinical. And we've not been clinical this season, which is why we spent most of the time saying we were toothless. But, you know, Bournemouth and Chelsea, back-to-back home away games, been very good.
Yeah,
pressure
that's
off,
even that though. I mean, I know it's Chelsea, but even that, you know, we've not done enough this year. Obviously, is close the door on teams when we've got ourselves in really strong positions. You know, Brentford away, for example. If you want to go for a club that's not a Champions League club or spent billions, you know, that game we didn't close the door. We got ourselves back into it, but we still managed to find a way to lose it. And we just picked up that sort of bad habit this year, just finding ways to lose games. Or certainly finding ways not to win games when perhaps you should. And you know, it's one of those things. It can happen during a season for whatever reason. You pick up that habit, and you just don't put teams to bed. And I'm very proud of the club and of the lads, though. You know, I think I agree with what. Ben
done incredibly well to get to the Premier League in the first place, which is why we kind of said at the start of the summer, wasn't it? It's a bit of a free pass for Kieran if he was to stay. We didn't know that point, did we? But because we had, you know, shot for the stars and gone beyond it. I mean, it's phenomenal. When we started talking town 5 years ago, we never thought we'd be in the Premier League now, did we?
No. But obviously Ben Johnson wasn't a part of that. So if you just take it on this season alone, again, we've not been blown out by many teams. You can't say Town have been rolled over by a lot or through the whole course of a season. It's been a few teams, Man City, Liverpool, but they're teams you'd expect to be really, rolled over by. You've not gone about beating 4-5-1 every week. You've been the best of the promoted sides, which when you consider the other 2 promoted sides were here were here before, only a couple of seasons ago. They were only 1 season removed, Leicester and Southampton. So they're more of a Premier League team than we were because they had the foundations that they set in place in the years before that.
Exactly. Look at Southampton, decade plus, I'd say, in the Premier League.
Yep.
Leicester won the Premier League, won the FA Cup, the Champions League.
Yep.
That just shows you how far they've fallen. I mean, we're ahead of both of those 2.
Yeah.
So in fact, that's a little mini victory. So from that viewpoint, that's a mini victory for Ipswich, but to be expected, really, given the manager, what they've built, the ownership, Ashton as the CEO/chair. I mean, all the as we said like a few weeks back, wouldn't it? Be tragic really for Ipswich to get relegated, given that all the pieces are in place to be a successful mainstay Premier League club. But sadly, we just haven't been able to replicate that on the pitch consistently enough to do something. Sadly, but maybe we take a step back to go too forward in the future. Fingers crossed.
And I'm still not quite sure, what position as a fan it's best to be in. Is it best to be in a position of a Southampton fan where you know your team's not good enough? You've come to live to accept that it's just not good enough. We'll go down, we'll regroup. We'll get a new manager, we'll come back again. Or as a Town fan where you're in every game, you're just not closed the door on enough games, but you're so close, and you're so close. If you manage to turn those games over, Fulham away. Fulham at home, even really,
they were in that game, didn't we?
Could have gone either way. Bournemouth Villa at home, Villa. All these different games, so you're very close. Where it's really just a fine margin, and it is a fine margin in different games. Because it's almost it's doubly a kick in the gut, because you're going down. No one wants to go down because, as someone said in the chat here, Barry, despite the results, still loved every game of the season, gets him some of the best players in the world, etc.
Yeah.
But also you're going down knowing you're sort of, that close really to being what's required. And I know the points will say different, but really in every game through court, even, Wolves, if people say, if they're the fourth worst team, they're miles ahead. I didn't feel like they were miles ahead. I thought first half we played fairly well. Second half we completely and utterly, we didn't emerge from the tunnel, I don't feel, second half.
Well, it's interesting when you break that Wolves game down, isn't it? When you actually look at some of the players, like that midfield they had was actually the midfield that started against Argentina, albeit they lose 4-1, in the World Cup qualifiers in South America. And that's, and we've seen it before. The Chelsea midfield was 200 million, 300 million if you throw Palmer in there. And you've got a loanee from Napoli who can't get in their team, in Cahuste. And Morsey's sort of been this kind of veteran campaigner who starts his Town career in League One. So, I mean, but I still don't know how we're going to bridge the gap. It's very easy, isn't it? We've said this, we've debated this before, haven't we? We want to come back stronger. I still don't know how promoted clubs come back stronger. I just don't see that. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it, I guess. I just don't know how we bridge that gap at the moment. It'd be very interesting to see how Leeds and Burnley, who look like nailed on to be promoted now, and whoever goes up in the playoffs will do.
This will be interesting in itself, because to come back stronger, you have to keep a nucleus of a squad.
Yeah.
If you don't keep a nucleus of a squad when you come down, really, you are going to come back, you hope, but not necessarily stronger, because again, you're replacing players that are a couple of years away from that level. Then they're going to come up. Are they going to be ready for that level? Like Dara O'Shea, for example, who's been a really top class centre half this year for us, probably one of the better signings of that window. Ideally, of course, you want to keep him next year, because then when he does return to the Premier League, he's a better defender than he is now. And right now, he's a good defender. But if you lose him, you've got to go and replace him. And then who do you replace him with? Do you go for a younger? Do you go for, what sort of budget you've got? Do you know what I mean? So to go down and to come back stronger, to keep yo-yoing and come back stronger, you have to keep together a nucleus of the squad that can grow. And that's where relegation clauses scare the life out of me, frankly. You don't know you don't know who's gone.
Yeah.
Who's going to go? Who the better, who the vultures are going to think, Dara O'Shea, great season, we'll pick him up for 7, 8, 9. Like we did to Burnley. You just go and pick over the relegation carcasses and look and see, we'll have him. So you've got to keep together a nucleus. We'll see what this summer brings. But on to Arsenal. Relegation could be confirmed this weekend. Just enjoy the occasion, right? It's Arsenal at home. You've got Rice, Saka, Martinelli, top quality players. They've just, you've just seen them in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Just go and enjoy this afternoon, this lovely Sunday afternoon, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're playing a side that just doubled Carlo Ancelotti's Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Home and away. So, yeah, just enjoy. I mean, I have from that. I agree. Was it Barry? You said it earlier. He'd enjoyed seeing these clubs. It's going to be very. Me too. I can deal with it. Look, I'm of a certain age now where I can deal with Ipswich losing football matches. You've got other things going on in life, so I could deal with it. Crunch used to say this with me as well. You wind back 20 odd years ago, maybe not. But, as you become a family person, the dynamic changes, doesn't it? But I think people will find it a bit sobering when you swap Arsenal for whoever we might play on the opening day of the season, like a Wickham if they come up. I mean, they're sitting in second at the moment. So, and I feel like we've had a gutful of all those clubs. Do you know what I mean? I mean, we trod water, didn't we, for like 20 plus years? Even have to go down to League One, don't we?
Oh, those clubs, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
To go,
I know
all the Premier League teams. No, not at all. No, I mean,
don't get me wrong, Matt. When I'm sitting there watching Newcastle roll us over inside 7 minutes, I've had a gutful. I'm thinking this is lovely.
Oh, yeah, it's hard to take.
But I've quite like to just hit the eject button on this game. But the difference is,
especially when you sprinted to the stadium like I did because the train was late to make kickoff.
Yeah, you see,
I'd have missed the first goal.
I mean, I'm in the car park 3.5 hours before. I paid £15 for this privilege. I'm going to enjoy it, mate.
I'm doing that Sunday.
Next year, I'm going to bring a smoker. Caravan, I'm going to rock up for the whole weekend, pay 15 quid.
That's a good point. Is it going to be 15 quid next? There's someone email.
They ain't going back, are they? Let's be honest. The prices don't. When have you ever seen prices roll back? It's not Asda, is it?
Yeah.
That's not, is it? Hey, we're rolling back the price.
No, it's true.
But I wonder, because obviously it's Matchday price, I wonder if the old Fabio Wardley car park will be 15 quid. Because technically it's Matchday. That's not a Matchday, technically. Or is it event pricing?
Event pricing.
Yeah. Event pricing, yeah.
Event pricing.
So there's been moments where I've had a gutful. Been moments where I've really thought, it's lovely watching these players, but I've had enough now. We're being beat 3-4-5-0 or what the score is at the time.
Well, there's no way back, is there, at that point?
No. But it doesn't sit with me. So I hate seeing our club lose. I hate losing. But 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it would sit with me for like all week or until Town played again. Whereas now, at my age, I know I'm not incredibly old, but at my age, it doesn't sit with me that long. It doesn't. I come home, I'm upset for 24, 48 hours, but by Tuesday morning, no later.
Which is a good way to be with the championship schedule as it is. 3 games a week, or it's going to
be. Colin says, are you getting the boxing, Matt?
I'm not, Colin. No, I'm not. I didn't get a ticket for that. I think that's...
Did you try?
I think it's overpriced, frankly.
Oh, there's been some big debate about that online. Some have said, yes, that is overpriced. Some have said, not overpriced.
You're sitting up in there. I think you're up in the cheap seats is around 60 quid. Ringside's about 330. I've got DAZN for a tenner a month. I'll probably end up watching it on that. But I'd like to see. I mean, good luck to Fabio. I hope he wins. Anyone in boxing doesn't like Jarrell Miller, given his well documented steroid issues that he's had previously. But it's great to see Ipswich hosting an event of that ilk. Anyway, I think it's brilliant. But it's an expensive night out boxing, and it always has been. To be honest with you, it's always been unpaid.
What those at home might not know is I did invite Matt to the boxing. I'm not going myself, but I did say to him, do you fancy going? We can get some food. He flat out turned me down. Flat out said, no, I can't. No.
I did say that. I can't. I'm not going to lie. No, I did. I was like, no, thanks, not them prices.
All right, then I won't go then. I'm not going to go on my own. Michael says, will Al Hamadi return back into the Ipswich Town fold next season, or will he still be out on loan to Stoke City or another?
That'd be interesting, that, wouldn't it? Will Stoke want to buy him? I mean, I think he's out injured at the moment. Am I right in saying
I'd sell him.
Yeah, I feel like probably. Well, I mean, he did all right, didn't he? I mean, he had a hell of a jump himself, didn't he, to go from League Two to the Championship with us, which I think was a big enough jump in the first place for him. Then suddenly gets thrust into the hustle and bustle of the Premier League.
But is he ever going to be a Premier League player? Or I mean, it's always hard to predict it because I never really thought Ainsley Maitland-Niles would be a Premier League player. But that
did you think Kiefer Moore would be when we first saw Kiefer Moore?
I didn't think, and I certainly didn't see the Nottingham Forest striker. The name escapes me. Chris Wood turning into what Chris Wood's turned into. So sometimes players can surprise you, but obviously looking at what you've seen so far, do you ever feel, if you want to be an established Premier League team, that this is a player that will eventually be a part of that plan?
Not yet. I'm not sure. I mean, look, he's similar age to Delap, isn't he? And Delap just looks head and shoulders above Al Hamadi. But I mean, you've got different, again, coming down to starting points. Al Hamadi is born in Baghdad, moves over here, goes through various clubs, doesn't he? Whereupon Delap's dad was a Premier League player, played for Republic of Ireland. His starting points, the Manchester City Academy. He's been kind of mollycoddled there a little bit. But I think Hamadi's got the hunger, and I hope he does well because it's brilliant. He'd see what his journey has been. He's been the first Iraqi-born player to play in the Premier League. So, I mean, that's something that no one will ever take away from him. No. It's brilliant. Listen, if he can chip in with double-figure goals, 15 next season for Town, then brilliant. It'll just be. But we've had issues with the strikers all season, haven't we? I mean, it's been Delap and Hurst in dispatches. It'll be interesting to see what the recruitment schedule is going to be for that in the summer. Whether or not Al Hamadi will play a part of that, or they'll catch him in and bring someone else, maybe from the Premier League down to kind of help spearhead our promotion push. It could be. There's lots of variables on that one, I think, but that's not to say I don't think Al Hamidi's not decent. I just think, again, like Cameron Humphreys being mentioned there in the comments, the trajectory of the club has pushed them down. It's pushed them down, isn't it? And it wasn't Al Hamidi's fault that he got thrust into the Premier League.
Oh no, of course not. I like Al Hamidi. I just don't know.
He should have gone on loan, shouldn't he, for the whole season, really?
If you're working to a multi-year plan and you want to, and the end goal is to be an established Premier League team, I just don't know if this is a player that you can see becoming a part of that, or if this is a player that perhaps you can't. And I haven't got the dashboard in front of me. I know somebody who will, and that will obviously be Mark Ashton in his dashboard. And they'll know about a rough trajectory of what they think their players can grow into. If he does remain at Portman Road, Matt, for me it'd be striker number 3, because George Hurst is number 2, and if midfield is 1 and 2 priority, the striker is a 3rd priority in the summer. You have to replace Delap and Hurst. I love Hurst, but a lot of that is fairy tale, misty-eyed, romantic look back. You know, he's had some injury concerns.
Yeah, he has.
And iron sharpens iron, right? If you were going to get a quality striker, it pushes him. It pushes Hurst. Hurst pushes him. You create that competition, that what you need in a promotion squad where they're pushing each other. Yes. And Hurst not played many times this year, Matt, but I'm sure he's a better striker, having had the lap around the place, having worked with the lap, having watched.
I think you see that
pushed each other, etc. So
I like his cameos. Yeah, I mean, George, the Jews are always out for me on George Hurst, even when we kind of signed him in League One, really. And then there was a question mark over whether or not he'd be a decent Championship player, having gone on loan to Blackburn, I think it was, and didn't really do anything there. And he answers that, doesn't he, on the opening day of the season? Scores that really good goal against Sunderland. I like what I've seen of him this season, to be honest with you. And I think you're totally spot on with Delap being in the frame and, that kind of like attitude that Delap brings. That kind of shoulder barge into defenders within the first 30 seconds of kickoff. I think you've seen that eye of the tiger a little bit in George. So if Delap does move, if he moves on in the summer, at least Hurst has kind of learnt from him, albeit a younger player than him. Hurst has kind of learnt something that will help with his development, because I'm pretty certain he's going to be around the building next season anyway for us.
All right, 1 to 11 for Sunday. Alex Palmer in goal. We're going to go. Imagine we're going to go for that.
Yeah, man of the match, wasn't he? Man of the match, wasn't he? Against Chelsea.
Who's your back 4, 3, or 5? What do you say?
I'm probably. Let me just get the side up here. I've still got Luton Derby on my screen. I'm trying to forget that game. Yeah, I'm probably going to go with the same, to be honest with you, Martin. I mean, there's a question mark over whether Davies starts out. I thought his second half performance was really poor, which is why he got slung after the hour mark, because he started the second half really poorly, didn't he? I mean, he doesn't cut the cross out that leads to the Twanzebe own goal. And I said to you, didn't I? I was like, has Davies left his brain in the dressing room? What's going on with him? And then within seconds of me texting you that, he got subbed, didn't he? And on came Townsend.
Why was he left out of the team for Townsend a couple of weeks ago? Was that through injury?
Yeah, it was an injury. He had a groin injury, I think. Yeah. Okay.
All right. Because obviously he was left out. Townsend played, then Townsend got injured. And we aren't privy to physio reports. No. Is he 100%? We have to assume he is. But you just don't know, do you, as a fan, when they've come back from an injury, particularly this time of the season, the body's sore.
Yeah, well, exactly. I mean, the cut and thrust of the Premier League, the toll on your bodies is why I think we've had so many injuries this season when we haven't, when we was in the Football League under McKenna. So that tells its own story, doesn't it? But, I mean, I remember,
Matt, sorry, jump in there. Lee Davis has played a lot of football last 2.5 years.
Pretty much every game.
The Duracell bunny. Do you remember that tackle he took at home on I think it was like a Monday night, and it was his ankle, and we'd see him for a couple of weeks, and he played 4 or 5 days later.
Oh yeah, he played the whole game, didn't he? The 3-3 he plays in that game. Yeah, that's right.
He's rarely missed a game. He's played more or less every minute. He's played a lot of football, and eventually it catches up with you a little bit, doesn't it?
Plus, you've got to think that we're going to probably concede possession and touches of the ball to Arsenal, where probably might just want to be a little bit more defensively sound. And Townsend would maybe fit the bill a little bit more there, given that Leaf is so attacking and has been caught out down that left side this season. Man United and Newcastle, to name but 2 games. But Townsend's proved that he can attack as well. I mean, look at the run he makes for the Delap goal at Bournemouth. And I do think he's got a good set piece delivery. And I am surprised we've not seen more of him this season in these kind of scenarios where you are going to be a little bit more defensively minded and get onto the counter attack. And I know Leaf is fantastic at counter attacking, but you know, I don't think Townsend's a duck out of water in that either. I think he's you want to clone the two together, really, don't you? Because you want Leaf attacking threat and Townsend as the defender. But you know, you want your cake and eat it there, don't you? A little bit. I think there's an argument for Townsend, given how Leaf started the second half on Sunday. I think there's an argument for Townsend there, given we think probably Arsenal going to have a lot of the ball.
So you're going to go with Townsend over Leaf?
Yeah, probably in this scenario.
Any other changes from Chelsea, or is that your own?
No, I'd probably keep it as it is. So Axel out on the right. I see McKenna said he would like to keep Twanzebe in the presser today, and he's told Axel that. Yeah, he's told. Well, it's interesting. Burgess wasn't mentioned in that conversation. Listen, that's a quote I've missed, but we know Burgess has been speaking to clubs. Was the rumour on TWT today? Girona in La Liga being one of them. A very small club, much smaller than Ipswich, but there you go. Done all right in La Liga, haven't they? And been in the Champions League this season. But yeah, so Twanzebe and then O'Shea and Burgess would be the other three in that defence.
Okay.
Are you keeping Twanzebe? Are you keeping Twanzebe?
Of course, yeah. If there's an option to, you absolutely jump at it.
Despite the injuries, he's sketchy on the injuries, isn't he?
Well, he said two injuries that are playing injuries this year, isn't he? And one injury that's obviously one of those injuries that you can't ever predict or account for. So yes, a player for me, a player you bring back because at the championship level he's proved he can do it. He's proved he's durable as well, despite the increase in games. Maybe the relentless nature of it isn't quite as there in the championship as Premier League, so it's not as heavy on the body. If I'm trying to think of something else to say there, but I can't really think of the words that you said earlier.
In the equation, you'll have Harry Clark back potentially, maybe a new signing in that position. Who knows? I mean, it'd be very interesting to see if McKenna rotates as much as what he's done this season, given the games are so thick and fast in the Champ. Be interesting to see that.
But again, as with Ali, you have to look at the injuries. You have to look at the age. I mean, how old is Axel?
Late 20s, I think.
Late 20s. Yeah, he's got plenty of time left for him. So it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer for me.
27.
27. But I just wonder, because obviously he did do a lot more games in the Championship last season. If that relentless nature of it, the Premier League is an elite level where it's always relentless. And I think you summed it up really well earlier in the show, and I can't remember what you said, so I'm trying to think what you said. But it's relentless, where Championship maybe isn't quite that level. So despite playing more games, you're not playing at that higher level.
No.
Heavier on the body.
You're going to get back into the equation. What you used to like was that kind of, well, not gimme games particularly, but we've been the gimme game for all the Premier League pretty much this season, haven't we? The sides may be coming up from League One or whatever it might turn out. Teams we saw today, you'd expect Ipswich to turn Luton and Derby over quite comfortably. You'd
hope so, from being promoted again. You'd have to. Yeah. I mean, even our friends at the A140, if you want to be promoted there, if you took the derby nature out of it. Now, I know you never can take the derby nature out of football, but if you looked at it simply as a league table,
in quality,
you would expect, if you want to be a team that's going to be, going back up, you're going to have to, I'm not saying turn them over, but certainly be beating them. We'll see if that happens, shall we? Because
it's been few and far between over the last.
I had a lot less grey hairs the last time that happened. My four line was a bit further forward. I won't lie. So anyway, back to the team. We sticking with Hurst up front then, not Delap.
But if Delap's fit, I'll probably play him. See how he gets on.
I'd go with Hurst now.
Would you?
Yeah.
He played well against Chelsea, I thought. I mean, he didn't have many touches, but was instrumental in both the goals, wasn't he? He played, like I said earlier, I thought he played very well. So we know Phillips is not going to feature, and Amari won't feature on Sunday. So you're going to keep Cahuste and Morsey, or are you thinking? If you're thinking you're going to play Hurst over Delap because you think Delap ain't going to be here next season, and it's the same thinking for Cahuste, you're going to bring Jack Taylor into the fold, centre mid with Morsey.
Well, obviously, yeah. As a fan, we don't know. You just look at it as Cahuste's on loan. He won't be here next season. Jack Taylor will be. So, yeah. But obviously, internally, the club will know what the agent feels, what the club feels, what the player
Mhm.
feels, if there's a chance of a deal, if there's no chance of a deal.
Yeah, who knows?
So that's a slightly different one. Whereas the lap, and I know people keep dangling that carrot and saying, "Oh, he could be here next season." He's not. All barring an injury, which we don't want to see happen to him. That means he can't, for whatever reason, sign because he won't pass a medical. He isn't going to be here because this player is set for bigger and better at this point, certainly.
Yeah.
Things. And he is going to be leaving. And I think he'd be leaving whether you stayed up or not. I think he's going to be going on to Champions League level teams and big money and all that. So you know what you're getting from Delap. You know you're not going to get it next year. My argument is let's give George a run of games. And I know the club won't look at it this way because obviously every point's a prisoner, as McCarthy would say, and you want to put your best team forward or whatever. But I would just give George a run of games now. Get him playing. Let's see if he can obviously stay fit in this run of games and cross that box off, in terms of proving he can stay fit for a run of games. And get him back playing, get him back smiling, see if we can get some goals from him, get some confidence
so he doesn't get
in the
injured
season. Well, these are all things you have to answer, right? You can't go into a season next year. No. For me, will he stay fit? Let's get him playing games again. Let's get him back on the grass, as they say. Yeah. Answer some questions because you are down. I know Colin and the most positive fan will tell me there's mathematically not definite. But you are down. You know what you're going to get from Delap, and you know you're not going to see it again next year. You have, maybe I'm wrong. But I mean, even though, there's Colin. We don't know that 100% though. But we do, Colin. What sort of turnaround?
Well, West Ham have got Southampton at home on Sunday, so you've got to think West Ham are going to probably win that. So that will take them out of the equation. And if Wolves get a point between now and the end of the season, and we win all our games, that still wouldn't be enough. So, I mean, it is what it is. What's your three then behind your striker? So it was Clark, Enciso and Johnson, wasn't it, at Stamford Bridge? Yeah. Are you going to keep those three? I mean, you're going to give Connor Chaplin some game time? I mean, he's back in the fold now, isn't he? But Johnson normally plays that right-sided role, isn't he?
Johnson and Clark stay. It's just a question mark of, if you go by my thinking with the lap,
you put Chaplin in there, yeah.
You're looking at Chaplin, right? Because you're looking again. You can't say that about. You can't say what I said about Delap and Hurst, and then say, "Oh, but I'm going to play in Cisse."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah. But if you're asking me for my strongest team, it's Delap up front, in Cisse in the middle, and then Jack Clark, Ben Johnson either side of him, and from there, I'm just thinking about as a fan.
It's logical, isn't it? It's logical to give players that are going to be in the building next season and trying to spearhead a Premier League
an extended look.
Some games against your likes of Arsenal and Newcastle that follow after that. I'd probably keep that free, personally. Enciso scored, Johnson scored. I don't think I'd be taking those two goal scorers out particularly. Could you, in argument, maybe to bring Broadhead in over Clark, maybe? I thought Clark did all right, actually. I mean, he was instrumental in one of the goals as well. I think it was the second, wasn't it? So I'd probably keep that free, which I've not said too often this season because that's been musical chairs for McKenna, isn't it? On 90 plus changes, 94, whatever we're at now.
I love Broadhead, but Jack Clark at the championship level last year was a Rolls Royce. Everyone was purring when we signed him for a reason.
And he was against Coventry in the cup.
And I love Broadhead. But for me, Jack Clark probably is probably a better player at that level. Because from what I've seen. So we need to get Jack Clark back playing, back purring, because next year I want that Jack Clark back in my 11, and it'd be a great 1-2 punch with Broadhead, who is a good player. But we need to get that. We need, as with George Hurst, get him back playing, get some confidence, get that smile back on his face. Let's try and end the season with a high. It might be relegation, but you end with a high. You end with them with a smile or a bit of confidence, a bit of personal form that you feel like you can say, it didn't work out overall, but the last portion of the season, like Chelsea, for example, it was involved with the key moments. And as players, when it's not gone well, you need that. You cling on to it. You can show growth, and it helps you for the next year, whatever league you're going to be in. And we need an on-form Jack Clark because we're going to need him to be purring to springboard us back to where we want to get ourselves back to,
Yeah, I totally agree. Colin was saying he was talking about Delap when he said 100%. Can
you see a world where Delap doesn't leave?
No, I don't. No, I don't really, sadly. Shame. I wonder how many goals he'd score in the Championship in this Ipswich team. I'd love to know. But yeah, I mean, we've got no option on it, have we? The relegation clause is in there, as we think, triggered at 30 million, and then that's it. It's curtains, isn't it? Nothing you could do about it. That's what the clause is in there for, to protect the player, really, isn't it?
Yeah, this is it. That's why the agents, all the clubs, all the players get it in, isn't it? Because they want that protection. It's like an insurance policy, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's like
absolutely.
It's like your car insurance or your house insurance. You get it just in case, and this is it. And had he had a bad year, had he come on the scene and scored 4 goals and not had the year he's had, 30 million wouldn't matter, because I don't think our clubs perhaps would be looking at him at this point at his age, saying, "Oh, we've got to do that." Sadly for Town, 30 million seems quite cheap, and he's had a great year, but not good enough to keep you up. So
we've not really been in this world. Exactly, we've not been in this world for a couple of decades either, have we? Where we've actually got a striker worth a shed load of money that's going to be wanted by Champions League sides, not just in this country either. I mean, he's been linked to Bayern Munich as well. You got the Vincent Company link there from Manchester City, I guess. But I mean that's how fantastic the journey has been now, isn't it? We are now actually having these conversations. It's been a drought, hasn't it? This kind of chat for the last 20 odd years. But hopefully we can have a good season next season, and we'll be back in the Premier League at some point.
We'll see. All right, so Sunday, we're going to round up the show now. Don't forget, we are partnered with the East Anglian Air Ambulance. If you want to help save lives, of course you do, and have the chance to win £1,000 every week, again, of course you do. Play the East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery. We're playing for just £1 each week. You're helping to get their yellow helicopters flying. The East Anglian Air Ambulance Lottery creates 18 winners every week, with prizes ranging from £50 to £1,000. Over 18s only. T&Cs apply. Link in our description. But please, whatever you do, gamble aware and gamble responsibly. Right. Score prediction then.
Well, very quick. I was going to say 2 quick mentions, Mike, before we go. And our score predictions. Get well soon, Jaden Philogene. Sounds like he's out for the season. Yeah. But doesn't need an operation. That's great news. They think so. It sounds like it's a similar injury that Connor Chaplin had at the top of the year. So we're only seeing him return now. So McKenna said maybe pre-season for him. It's a shame he's going to miss the 21s tournament. But get well soon for him. And big shout out to, we've got to mention this the other night, Ipswich Women will also be in the Championship next season, won't they? But going up a division.
I thought we did mention. Oh, my days.
Not sure we did. Yeah.
Well, is that confirmed now, or is it just a small case?
Well, they're 3 points clear, and their goal difference is like plus 30. So.
I think is it hashtag United? Unless they claw back a 30 plus goal difference. We finally had things happening for. No, it's not going to happen.
Sounds like it's doable against that MK Dons. I mean, I think Ipswich played them 3 times this season in the cup as well. Hit double figures all 3 times. But I mean, look, when we first started, we had Joe Sheen on the show quite a lot, didn't we? When we first started, and go back and watch those shows, and he was talking about what he was hoping that Ipswich could do as they became a kind of, was it semi-pro, or they got contracted players or whatever it is. And proof's in the pudding. So well done, Joe, and all the team. It's brilliant.
Great. Apologies for not mentioning it when we did. I thought we did, but thanks for again. Congratulations.
We were high on excitement from the Chelsea game, weren't we? Getting a point there. That was our excuse.
Possibly, but look, there's no excuse really. Congratulations to everyone involved. It's a great achievement. Really great achievement. Yeah, really proud of them for doing that. And wow.
It will certainly be a great achievement if Ipswich get a point on Sunday against Arsenal. I mean, it'd be very interesting to see what kind of side Arsenal put out, given that it's pretty much nailed on now that Liverpool are going to win the title, and I'd imagine they'll put all their eggs in the basket of playing PSG in the Champions League semi-final, home and away. It'd be interesting to see what kind of side they put out. I think probably Arsenal will beat us, probably 3-0 maybe.
Where have you got that notion from? What a silly idea.
However, who could see us beating, not losing to Chelsea over 2 games? The most expensively assembled Premier League squad in history. We beat them at Portman Road and we drew them at Stamford Bridge. So you never quite know, do you? But I would imagine it'd be a bit of a routine run out for Arsenal, and they'll probably beat us 2 or 3, I would have thought. But again, like you say, as long as we can be competitive within the game and give our player, we don't embarrass ourselves, and the live on TV, we don't want to be going down with no momentum, do we? Even if we're losing, we want good performances to roll into the summer and next season, really.
Well,
just waiting to see.
I might be wrong in saying this, but I think Declan Rice has, found his inner Nathan Broadhead in the sense of he's not scored a free kick
kicks out of the box, right?
Had he scored a free kick before that? I think I've
don't
read
think
something.
he had.
He hadn't. No,
Well, I think he had, but not to that kind of. Not to that level. I think he
channeled his inner Nathan Broadhead.
I seem to score. He scored a free. I seem to remember he scored a free kick when they drubbed West Ham, and Calvin Phillips was in that West Ham side. I think I'm right in saying that. But I mean, that second one he got against Madrid in the Emirates, I mean, it was an unbelievable free kick. I mean, I'd be hard pushed to think of a better free kick I've ever seen in my life. Superb, unsavable by any keeper at any level. That was unbelievable free kick.
Yeah. Really
so,
incredible.
what odds Ipswich give a free kick outside the box in 2 minutes?
You never know. It might be like Nathan Broadhead. We saw that one against Sheffield Wednesday. Never seen him take another one, have we? So maybe Declan Rice never takes from a free kick again, or certainly not the way he did this week.
What are you thinking then? Are you same with me, like 2 or 3-0? Gonna go. Well, we've beaten them before. Remember the League Cup semi-final, 1-0.
Yeah, how can we forget that one night?
Played rugby, didn't we? According to Fabregas, do you remember?
What with the Colin Healy deflection assist? Yeah,
that was a great finish.
It's gone for the tackle, and it's just
yeah. That was off the back of a 7-0 loss at Chelsea as well. Funny enough.
It was. All right, I'm just thinking 2-2. I feel like a 2-2. Don't know why.
Okay, Colin said that. Desmond. Yeah.
I feel like
brilliant if it is. Yeah, fantastic. Lump. Yeah.
Why not? Oh, well, there we go. So I've said 2-2. Let us know your score prediction. Don't forget you can put your score prediction in our Discord, 499 cast at any point. 24/7/365 Discord ITFC chat. But till then, this man here has been Matthew Phillips. You have been the wonderful audience at home. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thanks for partaking. But until Sunday, that's it. We're over and out. We're done. So enjoy the rest of your bank holiday weekend. Take care. God bless. All the best. Bye.